Leonardo DiCaprio gripped the cold metal bar inside the tiny Cessna, the engine roaring like an angry animal as it climbed higher over the vast African sky. The year was 2007, Tanzania, a rare day off from shooting blood diamond. He'd done a tandem jump once before, years ago, just to say he had. Today he wanted to do it solo, feel the raw freedom, prove something to himself at 32. The jump master, a weathered South African named Johan, checked Leo's rig one last time. Main chute looks perfect, reserve is packed tight. You good, mate? Leo flashed the famous grin. Never better. The plane leveled at 9,000 feet. The door slid open with a scream of wind. Blue sky and red earth stretched forever below. Leo didn't hesitate. He stepped into nothing. The first second was pure silence, the kind that swallows everything. Then the rush hit, air slamming his face, ripping tears from his eyes, the ground spinning slowly beneath him. He spread his arms, laughing into the roar, feeling more alive than he had in months of 12-hour shoot days. He counted 1,000, 1,000, then reached back and yanked the pilot chute. It snapped out like a flag. He waited for the familiar jolt, the canopy blooming above him like a flower. Nothing happened. He pulled again, harder, still nothing. The bridle line felt wrong, too loose. His stomach flipped. He looked up, saw the pilot chute flapping uselessly, tangled in itself, refusing to catch air. The main canopy stayed buried in its back. Leo's heart hammered against his ribs. He was free-falling at 120 miles an hour, and the clock was ticking. He had maybe 40 seconds before he needed to deploy the reserve or become a headline nobody wanted to read. He forced himself to stay calm, the way they drilled into him during the 6-hour course. Altitude awareness. He glanced at his wrist altimeter. 6,000 feet already gone. Wind screamed past his ears. He arched hard, reached behind with both hands, found the cutaway handle, and ripped it free. The dead main chute tore away from his back in a violent jerk, tumbling away like a broken kite. For one terrifying heartbeat, he was completely naked to the sky, nothing between him and the earth. His right hand flew to the reserve handle on his belly. He yanked with everything he had. The reserve pilot chute shot out, caught air instantly, and the spring-loaded canopy exploded open above him with a crack that felt like a gunshot. The sudden deceleration crushed the air from his lungs. His harness dug into his shoulders and groin, so hard he thought something might tear. He looked up, saw the orange and white reserve fully inflated, beautiful, perfect. Relief flooded him, so strong his eyes watered. Then he saw the twist. The risers had spun during deployment. He was hanging beneath the canopy in a tight line twist, spinning fast, the world blurring into streaks of brown and green. Every rotation tightened the knot higher. If he didn't fix it, the canopy would collapse. He kicked his legs hard, bicycling in the air, reaching up to grab the risers above his head. The G-forces fought him, centrifugal force trying to fling his arms away. He pulled hand over hand, forcing the risers apart, untwisting himself one brutal rotation at a time. His shoulders burned. His fingers went numb. At 3,000 feet, the spin finally slowed, then stopped. He hung straight, breathing hard, the canopy flying clean. The ground was coming up fast now, red dirt and scattered acacia trees. He checked his position. He drifted farther than planned, away from the wide, clearing toward rougher terrain dotted with thorn bushes and rocks. No time to steer much. He reached up, grabbed both rear risers, and pulled them down hard, flaring the canopy to bleed off speed. The earth rushed at him. He lifted his knees, ready for impact. He hit harder than any stunt he'd ever taken on a movie set. His boots slammed into the dirt, knees buckling, body rolling sideways through dust and sharp grass. Pain shot through his left ankle, bright and electric. The canopy collapsed behind him like a dying bird. For a long moment, he just lay there on his back, staring at the empty sky, chest heaving, tasting blood where he'd bitten his tongue. Alive. Completely, impossibly alive. Dust swirled around him. Somewhere far off, he heard the faint drone of the Cessna circling. Johan's voice crackled over the radio, strapped to his chest. "Now, talk to me, man. You okay?" Leo laughed, a raw, ragged sound. He pressed the button. "Yeah, mate. I'm good. Tell the pilot to buy me a beer when he lands. Make it two." He sat up slowly, wincing at the ankle, already swelling. He unclipped the harness, let the reserve settle in the dirt. The African sun beat down, warm and golden. He looked at the tangled mess of the main chute drifting down a quarter mile away, then at the perfect orange reserve lying beside him like a loyal dog. He shook his head, still laughing under his breath. Another story nobody would believe. 20 minutes later, the drop zone truck bounced across the savannah toward him, Johann hanging out the window, waving like a madman. Leo stood up, testing the ankle, pain shooting but bearable. He limped forward to meet them, grinning wide enough to split his face. Johann jumped out, grabbed him in a crushing hug. "You bloody idiot. You cut away at what, 2,000? Leo shrugged. "Had to. May never left the bag. Tangle from hell." Johann stared at him, eyes wide. "I saw the reserve come out twisted. Thought that was it, brother." Leo clapped him on the shoulder. "Takes more than that." They loaded the gear, drove back across the dusty plain. Leo stared out the window at giraffes in the distance, the sun dropping toward the horizon in a blaze of orange. His hands still shook a little, adrenaline leaking out slow. Johann passed him a warm Castle Lager from a cooler. Leo cracked it open, took a long pull. The cold beer tasted better than anything in Beverly Hills ever had. That night around the campfire, the crew begged for the story. Leo told it plain, no Hollywood exaggeration. When he got to the part about pulling the reserve and seeing the twist, one of the local grips crossed himself. Someone else whispered, "Mzungu has 9 lives." Leo just smiled into the flames, ankle propped on a log, ice pack melting. He thought about tomorrow, back to 12-hour days pretending to be someone else. Then he looked up at the African stars, brighter than any premier searchlight, and felt something settle inside him. He'd faced the one thing you can't fake, the moment when everything depends on nylon and a prayer, and he'd come through. Years later, on red carpets, people would ask why he kept doing his own stunts, why he pushed it on boats, planes, whatever came next. He'd give an easy smile, say something about keeping it real. Only a handful of people on the planet knew the real reason. At 9,000 feet above Tanzania, with a dead main and a spinning reserve, he'd looked death square in the face and blinked first. Everything after that was just details.